Ladies and gentlemen, let me paint you a picture of masterpiece crafted by none other than the divine hands of God himself. You see, life isn't random, it's a canvas. Every stroke, every splash of color is intentional and with purpose. Every moment, every struggle, every triumph, woven together in a pattern far beyond our comprehension. This world we inhabit is not one of chaos. It is not a place where things happen by chance. No, God has set into motion an intricate design, far more perfect than we could ever fully understand. And He works in ways that are beyond our human reasoning. You see, sometimes we find ourselves in situations that seem unjust. They appear to be dark and unexplainable. We are wounded by the actions of others, betrayed by those we trusted, hurt by the ones we loved, left wondering where God is in all of it. But let me tell you something profound. God is never absent. He is not sitting idly by, watching us suffer in vain. His plan is unfolding, even when we can't see it. His presence is more evident than we could ever imagine. The battles you face, the storms you endure, are not accidents. They are the tools that God uses to shape you into the person He needs you to become. It may feel like the world is against you, that you are constantly under attack, that your strength is being drained. But what if I told you that everything you've been through has had one singular purpose: to prepare you for something greater, to equip you with the wisdom and resilience you need to step into your destiny, and most importantly, to humble those who thought themselves untouchable? Yes, you heard me right. God used you to humble them and break their inflated, narcissistic ego. There are people in this world who think they are untouchable. They walk around with their heads held high, believing that their status, their power, their wealth, their influence can shield them from any consequences. They have built their identities on the false notion that they are above everyone else, that they are the center of the universe and the world revolves around them. They look down on others with contempt and disregard those who are less fortunate or less powerful with a sense of superiority that blinds them to the humanity of those they dismiss. These individuals are blinded by their own pride, consumed by their own sense of self-importance, and for the longest time, they are allowed to thrive in their arrogance because the world rewards those who succeed, no matter how they get there. But let me tell you something powerful about the ways of God. He doesn't look at things the way we do. He doesn't see power the way the world does. He doesn't measure success by the same standards we apply. And He doesn't let pride and ego go unchallenged. You see, when you were struggling, when you were facing your darkest moments, when you were being attacked, when your enemies thought they had the upper hand, when they mocked, you laughed at your pain, underestimated your strength. They didn't realize that it was all part of God's plan. They didn't understand that you were being shaped for a moment that would bring them to their knees and reveal the truth of who they really were. They didn't know that their arrogance would be their downfall and your humility would be the instrument of their correction. God allowed them to thrive for a season, but that season is coming to an end. And as the winds of change begin to blow and their world begins to crumble around them, they will finally see what they couldn't see before: the fragility of their power, the emptiness of their ego, the illusion of their superiority. You were the one they overlooked, the one they dismissed, the one they thought was weak, but in the end, you are the one who will stand tall, and they will be humbled. They will see that the God who has carried you through every trial, every setback, every painful moment is the same God who will deliver you from their grasp and expose their pride for what it truly is. And let me tell you this, they will never be the same again. Because pride has a way of blinding people to their own flaws. But when the light of truth shines on them, they will be forced to face what they have hidden from themselves. They will no longer be able to live in the illusion that they are untouchable, that they are superior to everyone around them. The very ego they use to build themselves up will be the thing that brings them down, and they will remember your strength, your resilience, your unwavering faith in God, even when it seemed like you had nothing left to give. They will see how God used your suffering to humble them, to break the chains of their own inflated self-importance, and to reveal the truth that no one is above the divine will of God. Now I know this message might not resonate with everyone, because there are some who may think that this is a message of vengeance or retaliation, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What God is doing is not about revenge, it is about justice. It is about restoring balance. It is about bringing people back to a place of humility so they can recognize their need for grace and mercy. God is not punishing them for the sake of punishment. He is using your life as a mirror to show them the error of their ways and to give them a chance to repent and change. He is giving them the opportunity to see that no matter how high they rise, they will never be higher than Him. The moment of reckoning is coming, and they will have no choice but to acknowledge what they once denied. They will see that they are not in control, that they do not have all the answers, that their power is fleeting, and their pride is a trap. And when that moment comes, when they are brought to their knees, when they are forced to confront their own inadequacies and flaws, when they realize that they were never as strong as they thought they were, you will be standing tall, not in arrogance, but in the strength that only comes from God. You will not gloat, you will not take pleasure in their downfall, because you understand that their humbling was never about you getting back at them. It was about God working in ways that are beyond human comprehension to bring about His will in this world. So when you see their downfall, when you see their ego shattered, when you see them brought low, know that it was God who did this. It was God who used you as the instrument to break their pride and reveal the truth of their heart. It was God who allowed them to think they were untouchable, only to show them the reality of their humanity. And as you stand there in the wake of their humbling, remember, this God did not bring you through your struggles for nothing. He did not allow you to endure what you endured for no reason. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a vessel of God's will, and everything that has happened in your life has been leading you to this moment. So let me say it again. God used you to humble them and break their inflated narcissistic ego. He used your strength, your resilience, your faith, to bring them to a place where they could no longer deny the truth. He used your pain to expose their pride. He used your journey to reveal the emptiness of their own self-importance. And when it is all said and done, they will know that there is no one greater than God, no one higher than His will, no one stronger than His power. They will be forced to reckon with the fact that their arrogance was never a source of true power, and that the only true strength comes from humility before the divine. And as for you, you will emerge from this season stronger, wiser, and more aware of the purpose God has for your life. You will not be shaken by the opinions of others, because you know that your worth is not determined by their approval or validation. You will walk with your head held high, not in arrogance, but in the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are a child of God, and that He has a plan for your life that no one can take away. You will not be moved by the storms of life, because you know that you are anchored in something far greater than any force in this world. Your faith will be unshakable, and your purpose will be unbreakable. So take heart, my friends, and know that your struggles are not in vain. Your pain has a purpose. Your humility has a power that the world cannot comprehend. You were chosen for this moment, and you are being prepared for something greater than you can imagine. God has used you to humble the prideful, and He is using you to reveal His glory in this world. Keep walking in faith. Keep trusting in His plan, and know that the best is yet to come. When you face the most challenging of circumstances, when you feel that the weight of the world is pressing on you, when the world around you is dark and uncertain, you must understand that it is in these very moments that God is doing the most significant work within you. These are not times to retreat or lose hope. These are the moments where God shapes you into the person He created you to be. The trials, the hardships, the pain, they are not obstacles to your success, but the very means by which God refines you, strengthens you, and prepares you for greatness. And you may not see it in the moment, but the best is yet to come. We live in a world that often measures success through external accomplishments, wealth, fame, and status. We are taught from an early age that these are the things that define our worth, that the person with the biggest bank account, the loudest voice, and the most followers is the one who has made it. But God sees things differently. His perspective is far greater, and His purpose is far deeper than anything this world can offer. Your value is not determined by what you can accumulate or how much attention you can attract. Your value is rooted in your identity as a child of the Most High, and it is that identity that cannot be shaken, no matter what the world throws your way. The prideful, the arrogant, those who walk with inflated egos, believing that their power and influence make them untouchable, they are often the ones who forget that the true measure of strength lies in humility. Their arrogance blinds them to the truth of their own fragility, and in their pursuit of greatness, they forget that all power, all success, all accomplishments are fleeting. It is only by God's grace that anyone rises to any position of influence or prominence. It is only by His will that anyone is granted success, and those who fail to acknowledge His hand in their rise will inevitably fall. The best part of it all is that you are the instrument God used to bring them to that realization. You were not created to be a passive player in this game of life. You were not meant to be a bystander watching from the sidelines while others take center stage. No, God has placed you in this world with a purpose that transcends the superficial measures of success that the world holds dear. You are here to make a difference, to change lives, and to reveal the glory of God through your actions, your words, and your very existence. And in the process, you will encounter individuals who believe they are the center of the universe. You will face people who have convinced themselves that they are beyond reproach, beyond challenge. You will encounter the prideful, the narcissistic, and the egotistical. And it is through these very encounters that God will reveal the truth to them. But here's the thing. When God uses you to humble someone, He does so with great precision. He doesn't need to resort to violence or revenge. He doesn't need to destroy anyone to make His point. Instead, He uses the strength of your character, the depth of your faith, and the power of your resilience to expose their weaknesses. It is in your humility that you become an instrument of divine correction. When the world tells you to fight back, to take vengeance into your own hands, God whispers to you to trust in His timing and His justice. He tells you that you don't need to prove anything to anyone because your worth is already established in His eyes. When others look at you and try to tear you down, they don't understand that God is using their opposition to elevate you. Do you understand the power of that? The very people who thought they could manipulate, exploit, or use you will eventually come to realize that they have underestimated you. They will learn that the strength they thought they were exploiting was not your own, but God's. They will come to understand that every time they tried to break you, they only built you up stronger. They will come to see that every wound they inflicted upon you became the foundation upon which your faith was solidified. They will realize that their prideful disregard for your worth has only led to their own downfall. And let me be clear, this is not a message of hatred or vengeance. This is not about celebrating the destruction of others, no matter how deserving they may seem. This is a message of God's justice, His perfect sense of timing, and His unparalleled ability to take what the enemy intended for evil and turn it for good. It is a reminder that God is in control, even when it seems like the wicked prosper and the righteous suffer. The world may try to convince you that the prideful are the winners, but God's economy is different. His justice is perfect, and His timing is flawless. And when the moment comes for those who have acted with arrogance to face the consequences of their actions, you will be there, not as a spectator, but as a witness to the greatness of God's plan. There is a truth that we must all come to understand, and that truth is that no one escapes God's judgment. The prideful will fall, the arrogant will be humbled, the narcissistic egos will be broken, and when that moment comes, it will not be the result of your efforts, but of God's divine intervention. You were simply the instrument through which He worked His will, and as they experience the crushing weight of their own pride being broken, they will come to understand that no one stands taller than the Lord. They will come to realize that their inflated sense of self-importance was nothing but an illusion, a temporary mirage that has now been shattered by the power of the Almighty. But even in their humbling, you will not rejoice at their misfortune. Instead, you will understand that their downfall was a necessary part of their journey. Just as you were once broken and brought low, so too must they be brought to the place where they recognize their need for God. It is in this humbling that they will have the opportunity to repent, to change, and to seek the mercy and grace that you have already received. And when they do, when they turn their hearts back to the Lord, you will be there to witness the transformation that only God can bring. In the meantime, your role is not to become consumed by their pride or their fall. Your role is to continue walking in the purpose that God has set before you. Your role is to keep pressing forward in faith, knowing that God's hand is upon you. The best is yet to come, and the challenges you face today are the very means by which God is preparing you for the greatness He has in store for you. Do not let the pride of others discourage you. Do not let their egos cloud your vision. Keep your eyes fixed on the goal that lies ahead, and know that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. The road ahead may not always be easy. There will be times when you feel weary and discouraged. There will be moments when the weight of the world presses on your shoulders, and you will question whether you can continue. But I urge you to remember this: the best is yet to come. Your journey is not in vain. The struggles you endure, the trials you face, the battles you fight, they are not without purpose. God is using them to shape you, to mold you, and to prepare you for the moment when He will elevate you to the place He has always intended for you. Trust in His plan, and know that He will bring you through every trial, every tribulation, and every hardship. As you watch the prideful, the arrogant, and the narcissistic crumble under the weight of their own egos, remember that you are standing in the grace and strength of the Lord. You do not need to seek revenge or take matters into your own hands. God is in control, and He will make all things right in His perfect time. Continue to walk in faith, continue to trust in His plan, and continue to be a witness to His glory. The best is yet to come, and you are destined for greatness. Keep your eyes on the prize, and know that God is with you every step of the way. The journey ahead may be filled with challenges, obstacles, and moments of uncertainty, but I assure you, His presence will never leave you. God is not a distant figure who observes from afar. He is an active, living force in your life. Every step you take, every decision you make, and every trial you face, He is there with you, guiding, shaping, and preparing you for what lies ahead. You are not walking this path alone. Even when the road gets rough and the weight of the world seems unbearable, God is walking beside you, holding your hand, carrying you when you cannot carry yourself. Let me remind you of something important. God's plan for your life is far greater than any earthly measure of success. The world may try to tell you that your worth is based on your achievements, your social status, or the accolades you receive, but God sees you in a way that no one else can. He sees your heart, your character, and your purpose. The world may overlook you, dismiss you, or even try to break you, but none of that matters because God has already chosen you for something greater. His calling on your life is irrevocable, and He will see it through to completion. Understand this truth. When God is with you, there is nothing and no one that can stand in the way of His purpose for your life. The world will come at you with all its forces, trying to knock you down, attempting to make you doubt yourself, to make you question whether you're worthy of the life He has promised you. The arrogant, the narcissistic, and the proud may mock you, belittle you, or underestimate you. But remember, they do not see what God has placed inside of you. They cannot understand the fire that burns within your soul, the destiny that is unfolding before you. Those who are driven by their ego will always think that the world revolves around them, that they can control everything, that they can manipulate situations and people to serve their purposes. But let me tell you this, their grip on the world is fleeting. The more they cling to their inflated sense of self-importance, the harder they fall when their pride is shattered. In contrast, those who walk humbly, who acknowledge the hand of God upon their lives, may face hardships and moments of despair, but they will stand firm. Their foundation is not built on pride or arrogance, but on the unshakable truth that God is with them. You may find yourself questioning, why do I have to endure this? Why do the proud seem to thrive while I struggle? But I tell you now, do not be deceived by what you see in the natural. The proud may seem to prosper for a season, but their success is built on a foundation that will eventually crumble. The world may applaud their achievements, but God sees the truth of their hearts. He knows their motives, and He will allow them to reach the peak of their pride only to bring them down at the right moment. Your humility, your perseverance, your faithfulness to God's will outlast their pride, because God is with you and His promises are steadfast. The beauty of God's plan for your life is that He is not merely concerned with your earthly success. He is preparing you for something far more significant, something eternal. The trials you face are not in vain. They are part of a greater purpose that is unfolding in ways you may not fully understand right now. But trust in this. Every trial, every battle, every moment of suffering is molding you, shaping you, and making you stronger. Through these trials, God is refining you, purging you of anything that could hinder His purpose for your life. And when the time is right, He will elevate you to heights that you could never have imagined on your own. You may wonder, how long will this journey take? How many more struggles must I endure? The answer is this: as long as it takes for God to shape you into the person He has called you to be. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with your own understanding. But know this, every step of the way, God is with you. He is your strength when you are weak, your hope when you are hopeless, your guide when you are lost. And as you continue to walk in faith, trusting in His plan, He will begin to reveal more and more of the path He has set before you. What seems like a long, difficult journey now will one day make perfect sense. Every hardship, every setback will be understood in light of the greatness He is preparing you for. And when God brings you through the fire, when you emerge on the other side stronger, wiser, and more resilient than you were before, you will look back with gratitude. You will understand that the struggles were not meant to break you, but to refine you. They were the very tools God used to shape you for greatness. The proud and the arrogant may have tried to break you, to make you doubt your worth, but God used their opposition to build you up, to teach you the strength of humility, to show you the depth of your own faith. In this journey, You will find that your enemies will be your greatest teachers. It is through their pride and arrogance that you will learn the value of humility. It is through their attempts to break you that you will discover the depth of your own resilience. And it is through their false sense of superiority that you will learn the importance of staying grounded in the truth of God's Word. You will learn that true power does not come from the world's recognition, but from the quiet, steady faith that God has placed within you. As you walk through this life, you will encounter many people who think they have it all figured out. They will try to manipulate, control, and dominate others, believing that their success is proof of their superiority. But God will expose their pride for what it is. He will use you, the humble servant, to show them that true strength lies in humility, not arrogance. They will be forced to confront the reality that their inflated egos cannot shield them from the consequences of their actions. You will also find that as God elevates you, He will use your success to glorify His name. The world may try to dismiss your achievements, to minimize your progress, but God will make sure that the glory belongs to Him. Every victory, every triumph, every success will be a testimony to His faithfulness, His grace, and His power. And when others see the work that God has done in your life, they will be forced to recognize that it was His hand that brought you through, that it was His strength that made you who you are. But remember, as God elevates you, the temptation will arise to become like those who once looked down on you, to let pride take root in your heart. And that is why it is so important to remain humble, to continue trusting in God's plan, to always acknowledge His hand in your life. It is only by His grace that you have come this far, and it is only by His grace that you will continue to walk in the destiny He has for you. You will never be the same person you were when this journey began. God is transforming you into someone new, someone stronger, someone more capable of fulfilling the purpose He has set before you. And the best part is, this transformation is ongoing. As long as you continue to trust in Him, as long as you continue to walk in faith, God will continue to mold you, shape you, and guide you toward the incredible future He has prepared for you. So when the world tells you that you will never make it, when the arrogant and prideful try to tear you down when you feel like giving up, remember that God is with you. He has been with you every step of the way, and He will never leave you. His plan for your life is greater than anything you can imagine, and the best is yet to come. Stand firm in your faith. Walk humbly before the Lord. Trust in His timing and His purpose. And know that no matter how difficult the journey may seem, you are never alone. God is with you every step of the way, and He will bring you through to victory. The prideful may rise for a time, but God's hand is upon you, and in His time, He will bring them low, and you will stand, not in your own strength, but in the power of the Almighty, a living testament to His greatness and His faithfulness. In conclusion, remember this: God is with you every step of the way. The journey may be filled with trials and challenges, but each one is shaping you for the greatness He has planned. The prideful and arrogant may rise, but their time is temporary, and their fall will be God's justice in motion. Trust in His timing, remain humble, and keep walking in faith. His hand is upon you, and the best is yet to come. Stay strong, stay faithful, and know that you are destined for greatness in His divine purpose.